Welcome to the ScreenCrush Break Room. I'm Ryan Arey, and this is all of the Easter eggs, references, and little things that you might have missed in Loki, Episode 3. Now, on the surface, this seems like a filler episode where not much happens, but this is actually a pivotal episode of the season. Loki and Sylvie team up, and Loki realizes that his real enemy is the TVA. From here on, the show will not be the same. The episode is called Lamentis, the name of the mining colony where it takes place. Lamentis first appeared in the comic book Annihilation Prologue. To be honest, not my favorite comic series, but it has its moments. The big event from that book is the destruction of Xandar, the home planet of the Nova Corps that we see in Guardians of the Galaxy. Now, of course, Thanos destroyed it off-screen.
Thanos already has the Power Stone because he stole it last week. He decimated Xandar.
If we ever do get a movie about the superhero Nova, then the opening scene would be this destruction, I hope. Now, I'm mentioning Xandar because I think that the people in this episode are Xandarians, and this is a Xandarian colony. For one, this episode is set just 20 years after humans were still shopping in what's basically a Walmart, so I doubt that we're in space while Earth tech is still so basic. It is possible that humans have adapted some of the multitudes of alien technology that have just been dropped onto Earth, but I doubt it. But the biggest clue is that the writing in the city seems to match the squiggles on Rocket's readout on Xandar. Plus, I mean, this whole planet gets destroyed, and getting destroyed is what the Nova Corps does best. They've been wiped out like 5 times in the comics. They're the Jedi Order of Marvel. Lamentis is named after the word lament, which basically means deep mourning or a song of death. The planet is so named because it's about to die, and Loki's Asgardian folk song is a lament for a lost love.
What you sing, she sings, come home. What you sing, she sings, come home.
Loki's striking visuals are one of the best parts of the show. They remind me of a really well-designed video game, such as AFK Arena, the sponsor of this video. AFK Arena is a casual mobile RPG game. It's very easy to level up your heroes, which is cool. But what I really like is hero reversion. That means that if I'm not into a hero anymore, I can take away his XP and add it to a more promising character. They want you to have fun, so there's a lot of flexibility, like hero swapping. And if you get an extra hero that you don't need anymore, you can let other heroes inherit its level and stars. The game also makes it very easy to level up. There's a feature called the Resonating Crystal that allows you to level up multiple heroes to the same level as the 5th highest hero that you have. So I've never played a game like AFK Arena before. For one, the artwork is absolutely stunning. The characters are rendered in a Renaissance art style that gives the story a classic mythological feel. The artwork and story are so well rendered, it's like you're playing in an actual fantasy story from the Middle Ages. So click the link down in the description and I'll see you in game. Back to the Easter eggs. The song at the opening is Deep Blue by Ladytron, and the song alone is packed with Easter eggs. First of all, the song is heavy on the synthesizers, much like the score to Thor Ragnarok.
2, 3, 4.
The show Loki is putting the god of mischief on a very similar path to his brothers. They've both been captured by an alien civilization, forced to alter their appearance, been brought before the leaders of these worlds, and now Loki is forced to team up with his former enemy, just like Thor.
Your Majesty! Don't die.
But the lyrics of this song are so dead on that I think they might have actually just written this episode around this song. Deep Blue, I want to take you to the sun, in the power station at the heart of town, because they're trying to charge their time phone. Get a train out of town to a place that's easier to get around, because they're trying to take a train to escape the planet. And finally, Deep Blue, I want to give it all to you, try and make you laugh, Deep Blue. In the same way that Loki is trying to get Sylvie to lighten up.
To Sylvie, everybody!
And by the way, I would like to mention an Easter egg that I missed from the last episode. Someone on Twitter, and I wish I could find the tweet, pointed out to me that this guy at the Ren Fair is an homage to Terry Gilliam's Time Bandits. Now, I won't ruin that movie for you, but it has many similarities to Loki, most notably the design of the time portals. Also, heavy spoilers pointed out that the title screen is actually an effect that occurs from photocopying a paper again and again and again. Much like the variants are copies of themselves made over and over again from different realities. The episode begins with Sylvie and the guard in an illusion that she's created. She says,
"Do you know how many times the health department has closed this place down?"
And this is an allusion to the TVA, another oppressive government regulator that's trying to stamp out a good time. I want to take a quick victory lap because last week I theorized that the TVA agents were all variants. Here's my theory. Everyone in the TVA except for Ravonna Renslayer is a variant, and the Timekeepers have wiped their minds. So I win. I'm good at this. Sylvie says,
"It's when you sip something so cold."
Brain freeze associated with coldness. Got it.
Wait, I'm being serious.
And the channel heavy spoilers pointed out that this could be because she's a frost giant and doesn't get cold.
clever girl.
But more specifically, she's talking about memories being frozen in place, because that's exactly what's happened to her and the other TVA workers. They've been snatched out of their timelines and their minds have been clouded. So in many ways, they're forever frozen in the time and place they came from. For Mobius, he was probably snatched off a jet ski.
There was a beautiful union of form and function, which we call the jet ski.
In a more meta way, it's Loki and Sylvie who are frozen in place in this episode. The whole scene is part of Sylvie's enchanting power. Loki even calls it this several times.
You're trying to enchant me?
This seems to confirm the fan theory that Sylvie is the MCU's version of the Enchantress. In the comics, the original Enchantress was an Asgardian magician who could mind control people by seducing them. Her sister Lorelei appeared on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
You and your men now serve me.
In the more recent comics, the name Enchantress has been adopted by a girl named Sylvie, who Loki gave powers to. Now she goes on to join the Young Avengers, a team that Marvel is clearly building up towards. We did a whole video about this, but members of the Young Avengers have already appeared in Ant-Man, WandaVision, and Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and are about to appear in Hawkeye. And by the way, the main villain of the first Young Avengers arc is Kang the Conqueror, who's being set up as the next big bad of the MCU, and has been hinted at many times in this show. We covered that in our last Easter egg video. Go back, watch it if you have time. Speaking of Young Avengers, Mike Coletti on Twitter had a great observation. The special thanks in the credits list Paul Cornell and Mark Brooks, the comic creators of Dark Reign Young Avengers, where Sylvie joined the team. Last week we dropped a theory that Sylvie's plan was to recreate the multiverse to destroy the TVA. Now it seems like that was all a distraction just to get to the Timekeepers. But from the way those timelines are barreling toward the red line, I think the multiverse is going to be created anyways, so our video still stands. Loki finally got back his knives after they were yanked from him in the last episode.
Just in case.
Absolutely not.
Heavy spoilers missed that one because he sucks. Notice the elevator to the Timekeepers is covered in hourglasses, just like Ravonna Renslayer's office door, visually linking her to the ultimate authority over the TVA. When she says,
"The plan you interrupted was years in the making."
She shouldn't be so surprised. Interrupting plans is Loki's main function in the MCU and in Norse mythology. She mentions gravity quakes. Now, these are actually real. It's when an earthquake is so large it actually creates a gravity bubble and shifts the gravitational pull of the Earth. But we've also seen a gravity quake in the MCU before. This is what destroyed the Earth in Season 5 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Loki and Sylvie are stranded and try to borrow a phone charger from a homesteader. Sir Arthur Indeed on Twitter pointed out that the moment she opens up the door, it seems lifted from Kill Bill Volume 2. If the actor playing the homesteader looks familiar, maybe it's because she also played this role in Cobra Kai and also She's Your Mom. The photo in her house is a recreation of the painting American Gothic by Grant Wood, a kind of universal symbol for poor people working the land in a remote location. The triangular cannon she's using also seems a lot like Xandarian technology, with the 3 points of the triangle representing the 3 sons of Xandar, also the symbol of the Nova Corps. It would make sense if the Nova Corps designed their weapons along these same aesthetic lines. She says,
What do you devils want with me?
Mephisto confirmed. But no, for real. I pointed out in one episode that every culture's mythology has a chaotic figure, an opposer to the natural order. Hebrews called this figure Ha-Satan, Christians called this figure Satan, and ancient Norsemen called him Loki. So she's not far off. Silent Hamish on Twitter has a few observations connecting this show and Doctor Who, which, full exposure, Doctor Who is a gaping hole in my nerd knowledge. He points out that the quarries here are a classic Doctor Who location, and that Loki is a consultant for the TVA like the Doctor is for the unit. I look forward to watching the show and understanding what that means. Then they arrive at the train to the Ark, which, yes, is very reminiscent of Snowpiercer. In that film and the TV show, all of humanity lives on a train to escape a global apocalypse, and the wealthiest people are given special treatment. Even the uniforms of the guards are reminiscent of the train workers on the TV show. Speaking of guards, Monty G on Twitter pointed out to me that these two are named Hudson and Hicks, an homage to these soldiers in Aliens.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.
This episode repeats the major theme of Snowpiercer, namely that the wealthy are given special treatment even during the end of the world.
They're only giving tickets out to the wealthy!
Look at all the empty space in the dining car and think about all the people they could have saved. But to Loki and Sylvie, these people are already dead. In fact, to Sylvie, they die again and again.
The Ark never leaves because it's destroyed.
Which is the same point of view that the TVA shares.
That's the proper flow of time, and it happens again and again and again because it's supposed to, because it has to.
This made me laugh.
Look, I can't go backwards on a train.
Because, I mean, look, who can sit that way? It's terrible and unnatural. Loki and Sylvie have a real heart-to-heart about their past. When Loki says he was adopted, she responds by saying,
I knew I was adopted.
What? They told you?
Yeah.
Now Loki assumes that he's talking about Odin and Frigga, but she's not. I think this actually ties into Sylvie's secret origin that I'm going to cover in a video tomorrow, discussing where all the different variants came from. So subscribe and ring the bell to make sure you don't miss it. It's going to be a good one. This whole conversation seemed very reminiscent of Luke and Leia in Return of the Jedi.
She died when I was very young. She was very beautiful, kind, but sad.
I have no memory of my mother. I never knew her.
Tell me about your mother.
I barely remember her. Just blips of a dream at this point.
Then Loki discusses Frigga and the magic that she taught him.
And it all seemed impossible, but she told me that one day I'd be able to do it too, because I could do anything.
Hearing all of this helps redeem a not great movie, Thor the Dark World. Knowing that Frigga was the only person who truly understood Loki and believed in him makes his role in her death even more tragic. Then Sylvie says,
Yeah, there is actually.
Oh.
Managed to maintain quite a serious long-distance relationship with a postman.
Now wait just a minute. Wait just a damn minute. She says this like it's a joke, but we have seen a postman in the MCU who also transcends all of space and time. Stan Lee. Stan Lee has had many cameos in Marvel movies. That's his reward for co-creating or scripting some of Marvel's biggest hits in the 60s. We even made a tribute video linking all of Stan Lee's cameos together. But there was also a fan theory that he was secretly a Watcher, one of the aliens who plays Peeping Tom on entire civilizations. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 even showed Stan Lee reporting to the Watchers and saying,
"At that time, I was a Federal Express man,"
referring to his cameo in Civil War. So clearly, Sylvie had a relationship with Stan Lee. Their conversation about love seems to indicate even more that she is the MCU's Enchantress. Later, Loki even compares love to a dagger.
Love is a dagger.
But actually, Loki has always let a dagger get between him and love.
Sentiment.
God, he was such a good bad guy. I'm kind of bummed to see him become a hero. I mean, the show's great, but he was so good as a bad guy. When Sylvie wakes up, Loki is carelessly leading the train in song, a moment very much like Pippin in The Prancing Pony. And while we're at it, full Loki is also clumsy like Pippin. The song is an original composed for this episode, but I did hear Svartalheim in there, the planet of the Dark Elves where Loki faked his own death. Maybe this is a song that Loki commissioned about himself while King of Asgard, that this Loki learned while studying his file. And when he says, "Another!" it's a callback to my favorite scene in Thor.
Another!
Now look, I like this show a lot. It's weird, timey-wimey, great production design, the music is incredible, the acting is phenomenal, but the action sucks. It's a decent fight choreography, but we're watching super-powered gods punch regular people and they're struggling. I don't think that the TVA depowered Loki, and yet in episode 2, he has to use a vacuum cleaner in a fight against a redneck. I know some tough rednecks, but none of them can fight an Asgardian. The Nightflower on Twitter pointed out to me that Sylvie uses her horns as a weapon like Loki used his helmet in Ragnarok. But also in this train fight, he doesn't use his magic image casting ability. Then, at the end of the episode, he suddenly remembers that he has magic. It all just screams low-budget TV, and I would rather not see them fight at all. Instead, they could have just outsmarted the agents by being clever. That being said, the action set piece at the end of the episode is phenomenal. Filmed like it's all in one shot, it really brings you into the moment and makes you feel like time is against them, and everything is pressing down, trying to keep them stuck on this planet. SD Comics had an interesting theory that he told me on Twitter. In this shot, you can see Loki stopping this pillar, not an ability he's shown before. Maybe he stole the time stone from the drawer in episode 1 and secretly used it to reverse time and put the pillar back in place. So the Ark City has a very Blade Runner Total Recall design aesthetic that I love. There's an infinity symbol in the background here. Much like the Infinity Stones being obliterated in episode 1, this seems like a subtle indication that the Infinity Saga is now behind us and Marvel is telling other stories. But the best moment in the episode is when the Ark is destroyed and everyone stops. Because now they realize it's hopeless. They are dead and they're here to witness their own lament. The song at the end of the episode is Dark Moon, sung by Bonnie Guitar. Again, these lyrics are spot on. The Dark Moon in the song is referring to the night sky not seeming as bright because the singer has lost her love. Just like the dark moon in this episode is about to destroy the planet, and love is also a major theme in the episode. But the lyrics go on to say, mortals have dreams of love's perfect schemes, but they don't realize that love can sometimes bring a dark moon away up high. In other words, these mere mortals look to the sky and see destruction. Or, taken another way, they look into Asgard to see the gods and only find demons like Loki and Sylvie. The credits have also been altered slightly to include photos of Loki and Sylvie together. And this battery pack on Mobius's desk looks a lot more ominous now. But what did you think of the episode? Do you have any theories about what's next, or are they totally screwed? Let me know down in the comments below or at me on Twitter. And if it's your first time here, please subscribe. For ScreenCrush, I'm Ryan Arey.